Alright, it's about time to give some answers to those questions you guys have posted, so let's just dive right in with a question I saw coming from a few galaxies away. Jaface's Mine asks, are you planning to do a Tales of Vesperia boss run? Not at present, no. It kinda depends on how things turn out once I've beaten the game. There's weapon fusion and stuff to deal with, and I can imagine it takes a lot of time to get a character ready, so we'll see. It's possible, but it won't happen anytime soon. Next up is Homero Maxwell, who asks a couple of questions. Do you have a girl or boyfriend? No. I've never been in a relationship, and I don't see the need to get into one. If I ever do find someone I can tolerate, then I suppose I might change my mind, but until then, I'm gonna stick to dying cold and alone in a ditch somewhere. What's your favorite video game in general? That's a good question. I like a lot of games, but if I had to pick a favorite, I'd say either Persona 3 or 4. Which one I prefer changes all the time, but right now I'm feeling free. What's your favorite Tales game? Tie between Vesperia and Innocence R. What's your least favorite game in general? Now that's a tough question. I've played a lot of games that I don't really like that much, but none of them really deserve to be my least favorite game. I suppose if I had to choose one, I'd go with Mimana AR Chronicle for the PSP. Its battle system is similar to Tales, which I suppose is fitting, but on the whole it's just a very mediocre game. What do you think of unnecessary panty shots in video games? Not a fan. I mean, if the game in question is more or less built around extravagant fan service like Senran Kagura, then I don't have a problem with it. Games that embrace it and are fully aware of how silly they're being are much more enjoyable than a game that throws in a quick panty shot here and there. That's just pandering, and I don't see the point, quite frankly. Gotta admit though, I haven't seen that many panty shots in video games that weren't explicitly about that kind of stuff. If anything, I think anime and manga are the bigger offenders in that area. Kasanuma the Swift asks, what do you think the hardest boss in the Tales series is, and is Rideau and Ivor anywhere near that? Speaking from my own limited experience, I'd probably say Rideau and Ivor. It's hard for all the wrong reasons, but it's definitely still a difficult fight in my opinion. Now, that's just from a solo perspective, of course. If you mean from a team perspective, then I don't know, maybe some EX boss somewhere. Spiral Draco in Vesperia was pretty tough, but other than that, I don't really know. When you play a game, do you like to explore more, or do you like to generally go from point A to point B? That depends on the game. If it's a game I like, I'm more inclined to explore more and get the most out of it, but if I find the game boring and I'm only playing through it to see the end, then I'm more likely to just truck on and go from point A to point B. Epic Rebel asks, favorite Tales games and favorite characters to play as? Well, I already answered the first part, but I suppose my favorite characters to play as would be Pascal and Ludger. Pascal for her interesting playstyle, and Ludger for his freedom of creativity with combos. Mikleo and Systeria is pretty fun as well. Do you smoke weed? No. Any plans for other games? By other games, I assume you mean non-Tales ones, in which case, yes, I do have some. I'm tinkering with an all-female run of Fire Emblem 7, as well as some solo runs for Eternal Sonata. I don't know if either are gonna see the light of day since they've barely been started, but they're under development at the very least. Just Samu asks, when's more streams? My next stream will start at not gonna happen o'clock on the 16th of February. To be honest, I don't know. Whenever I find my gaming activities to be worthwhile streaming material, I guess. Do you watch any anime currently? No. Sometimes all the planets align and I'll watch a 12-episode series over the course of 2 years, but generally I'm not that big on anime. Now hentai on the other hand, when's Musei solo? Dude, have you seen my Musei? I'm having enough trouble with characters I can actually play. You don't want to see me attempt that, trust me. Have you ever thought of speedrunning? Yes, actually. I used to play Aladdin on the Super Nintendo a lot, and once or twice I've considered doing a speedrun of it just to see how well I know it. Never followed up on that though. I don't think I've got the patience required to speedrun a game. Will you forgive me for these very bad questions? I'll think about it. Edislu asks, how would you recommend someone to start if they wanted to do a solo character boss battle? What is a good way to start and learn? Well, I can only tell you what worked for me since I haven't yet transcended you foolish mortals and tapped into the universe's collective knowledge. I just threw myself into it, started a New Game Plus file on Xillia 2 after only having beaten it once, and tried soloing the first boss. You can't go into a run and knowing everything when it's your first time doing it, so just see where it takes you and learn from the experience. It doesn't have to be perfect the first time around, that's what reworked runs and remixes are for. Lastly, don't feel discouraged if things aren't going well. We all fail time and time again until we get a good take, that's just part of the process, especially the first time a particular run is attempted. Don't feel pressured to pick up a capture card as soon as possible either. Runners like Unheard Phantasm and Homura Maxwell, who admittedly have capture cards now, have proven that you don't need a capture device in order to provide good content. As long as we can see the screen clearly, there won't be a problem. Finally, some games require more preparation than others, so if you ever wonder about something, ask another runner. I can promise you this, if you ever have questions about a game I myself have done runs for, do not hesitate to ask me if you're feeling unsure about something. Don't be like me and be an antisocial shut-in nutbar who's terrified of bothering people by initiating conversations. Actually make an effort to talk to people. We don't bite. Yuki asks, did you ever get around to setting up a Tales of Vesperia file yet? It'd be nice to see more Vesperia on your channel. I've started a file, but it's not done yet. I think I'm about to enter that forest where you go to Judith's hometown. The names of both of these places escape me at the moment, but since I'm pretty much done with Xillia 2 for a while, I'm gonna make an effort to get Vesperia runs started sooner rather than later. And there we go. All the questions have been answered, so all that's left is the token thank you speech. Many thanks to each and every one of you who have decided to hang around, old and new arrivals alike. This has been a really fun journey so far, and I look forward to providing more content for years to come. Well, unless I tragically die in an accident, of course. I suspect my video making would slow down if that were to happen. But I can't really think of much more to say at the moment. I suppose if I think of something, I'll put it in the description. Other than that, I think I'm just gonna take my leave. Is this the way out? Over here?